All right, welcome. It's time for us to talk sports on Global Television, and I am Anthony Momadou, getting all ready and fired up to give you all the big stories making up in the exciting world of sport. I'm not alone on today's edition. I've got my talk partner. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Talk Sports this morning.
All right, we've got lots of interesting talking points. We'll be looking at who becomes the next Super Eagles coach. We'll be looking at that, and thankfully we have in the studios that will be joining us a few minutes from now, an ex-international. I'll leave it under wraps. Who probably will give us an inkling who is the best man to take charge of the Super Eagles. We'll be looking at the African Games coming up, the number of athletes that will be representing Nigeria, and also we'll be talking a little bit of boxing. Anthony Joshua's fight against Francis Ngannou of Cameroon. We'll be looking at that, and not forgetting the English Premier League is one of the big stories. It was yesterday, the Gunners. You know what they do when they meet small teams? They roast them alive, and it was a 6-0 bashing.
That was a whooping, probably a proper whooping. You know, there was a lot of errors that were made by Sheffield United. You know, they were supposed to play 5-man at the defensive end, because I was thinking, you know, I was expecting them to do that because the pace at which Arsenal go and this period, they are actually out for business, and they are, you know, very fit, and then they just kept knocking at the door and kept getting goals back to back. I expected more from Sheffield United because actually they had the home advantage, they had their fans and all, but you know, there was nothing more they could do but keep receiving from Arsenal.
All right, we don't intend to start with Arsenal, just that we just had to rub it in that the first trickle of supporters heading for the exit started after just 15 minutes. Yes, 15 minutes was all it took, just a few at first, but then 10 minutes later, that steady stream of disappearing grew heavier because of then 3 goals had turned to 4 goals, and embarrassment had turned into humiliation, and the stripping of dignity was what he got when he hit 6-0. All right, let's begin from the home front. You've got some interesting stories for us as regards first of all, talking about who becomes the Super Eagles coach.
Yes, you know, before, you know, during the African Cup of Nations, some ex-Super Eagles players, you know, met with the Senator Minister of Sport, and they brought some names to him that they felt should be, you know, considered. Names like Emmanuel Amunike, who was a former ex-international who played in Barcelona, and then they were suggesting for him to, you know, be the head coach, and then Daniel Amokachi to assist him. Those are actually 2 good picks to me. Those are 2 good picks because recently Daniel Amokachi has upgraded his qualification in the coaching system.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I have my reservations about down the bull. For me, I feel Finidi George is a calmer personality who has also played under world-class coaches. He has done it. He did it with Eyimba. He has been local scene. He has seen players he can spot on. I feel Dan Amokachi is too headstrong and too proud to be an assistant coach to someone like Emmanuel Amunike.
Yes, because
so I feel it's a better blend if you had Finidi George and Emmanuel Amunike and whoever. Maybe the Bull could play any other role, but I think he's going to give the coaching crew a lot of headaches.
Yes,
but that's just my own personal opinion.
You know, actually,
of the man.
But I think Emmanuel Amunike also has that. I think he also has that. You know, has eyes to like spot out
talented players.
Great talent.
We saw him with Chukwueze. talking about Victor Osimhen and co when he took them on the 17.
Yeah, so he was able to spot them. So I think he's going to do a good job. But another thing is just for them to put differences aside, because we are all looking for a common goal, qualification for the World Cup, and then advancing, going further in the competition.
Getting to the finals,
yes,
if
possible winning the World Cup. So those are our expectations. So I just think they should put away every differences and then work to achieve that goal. Emmanuel Amunike has good eyes for young talent and all of that, and then the qualities that we have, I feel he can be able to manage them. And then Daniel Omokachi as well is also someone who is also
my question about Daniel Omokachi also, yes, he said he has upgraded his CV and qualification, but getting qualifications and getting the job on pitch of play are two different things. So that's lights out. This is Nigeria. Okay, so it's a different thing. Yes, he might have a qualification, but can he get the job done? We saw him with some club sides in Nigeria. Did he really succeed with those club sides? The big question mark on down the road for me.
That's a very big question mark.
I think the NFF has that burden to decide who fits most, and hopefully when our ex-international who is sitting on the wings to come in later, we'll get his view. Okay, we've also some talks about the Commonwealth, the African Games.
Yes, coming up, they'll be kicking off by Friday. We have over 358 athletes representing Nigeria, and they'll be participating
for 25 sports.
For 25 sports, they'll be participating for 25 sports, and we have likes of Ruth. Ruth will be participating, and she in the long jump.
All right, welcome back from that first break due to some technical issues. We're truly sorry. We were, at the heat of doing some analysis as regards to who takes reign over the Super Eagles head coach job, and also we're highlighting the African Games that are coming up. About 253 athletes to represent Nigeria in 25 sports. For you, do you think we've had enough preparations? Because we've always had an issue of late preparations towards competitions, but it appears this time around the athletes have been in camp and they're good to go.
Yes, they've actually been in camp for months now. The preparation has been ongoing, and then they're all in camp. The athletes were all preparing separately before they all came to camp, convert together at camp, and so far so good. They are set, and they are not having challenge that our male basketball team had that almost led them to withdrawing. So it was actually a good thing, and then they are all set, and they are ready to get the ball rolling.
All right, we wish them the very best of luck, and you have one more talking point as we look at other issues?
Yes, Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou's fight coming up to this same Friday. Anthony Joshua is so key and then confident because he has been coming back to back. He has 3 wins. Coming from the last win was in December, and he said he's very physically strong, mentally ready, and he's ready to knock Francis.
I'm still not convinced.
He's ready to knock
I'm still not convinced he can beat Francis Ngannou.
Francis Ngannou
physically, he looks like a truck.
Yes, and that guy is
huge. And we know that Cameroonians are well built, and it's going to be a very fiery one because when Cameroonians tend to meet Nigerians in any sport,
it's a brawl.
And we've gotten 2 over them already. We got 1 over them during the AFCON, and the Super Falcons beat them again. So Ngannou will look to like pay Nigerians back in. But it's going to be a good one. I think the problem is pundits in boxing have said Anthony Joshua has a soft chin, and Ngannou has the hardest point in world boxing. So
Ngannou is the hardest puncher in boxing.
So how is Anthony Joshua going to be able to take this power punches? So he has to be very technical. I think
yes, Anthony Joshua is a technical fighter. The game of boxing, the sport of boxing generally is just hit and don't be hit. Just make sure you get a punch and make sure you don't get one back. But at the end of the day, you must surely get punched. But the thing now is Anthony Joshua needs to be technical and then try to avoid those knockout punches. Because he knocked out Francis Ngannou knocked out Fury with his left hand. So imagine him using the right hand, it's going to be something else. So Anthony Joshua just needs to be very, very technical if he must win that fight, because there's a big if there, because Francis Ngannou is...
Over the week, we saw the machine Ngannou punched, and the machine immediately rang 9999. So it's cleared the clock here. So it's going to be a powerful one. We'll be wishing our Nigerian brother Anthony Joshua the very best of luck. We hope somehow God of boxing helps him out on that day, but it's going to be a very tight one. All right, we'll quickly just, we've told you about Arsenal whipping Sheffield United by 6 goals, and it shows the Gunners on fire, but how much can they do as regards winning the English Premier League is a tough one. All right, let's just talk a little bit of Man United, and we'll be going on a break after 2 stories so that we bring our ex-international into the building to help us look at some very interesting talking points. Let's begin from Manchester United, where the big story says Manchester United's players are increasingly doubtful that manager Erik ten Hag will be in charge of next season. Ten Hag still has support of the dressing room, despite some complaints over the intensity of his training regime. However, Maysport understands that many in United squad believe it's likely new co-owners would sack this man and bring a new coach. Let's look at the issue of sacking Ten Hag, and also talking about the training regime of Ten Hag. Some players are saying he makes them run too much and has caused lots of injuries to players in the team. Do you think Ten Hag is going to survive next season?
I don't think he's going to survive, because now the fans are not even happy with him to start with, and fans play a very vital role when it comes to a club. So if the fans are not happy, it's a problem for the coach, because one, they are not doing so well. They are, I think, on the I think 8th or thereabout on the table, so they are so not doing so well, and players now begin to complain of how he runs them too much. That's another minus for him. So I think he might not survive unless he brings a different tactics for training and then a different style of play that would give them points and make them win games, because as a coach you have to be winning games. If he's not winning games, I don't think the owners of the club will want to have you for long on that team.
All right, so Ten Hag might not be the coach of Manchester United come next season. We'll be looking keenly to see how that plays out. That's if he finishes the season with them. All right, let's go to the blue side of Manchester, where Pep Guardiola mentioned Phil Foden in the same breath as the great Lionel Messi, as the Manchester City star game continues to scale new heights. Foden's brace during Sunday's 3-1 victory over Manchester United earned him more rave reviews, with his manager claiming that the 23-year-old is currently the best player in the Premier League. But Guardiola then went one further, believing that Foden's ability to take charge of matches in decisive moments reminds him of the young Messi. Foden's progression was underlined by his belief that City were rushing too much, as Marcus Rashford's early stunner, a sign that he has learned Guardiola's principle during his development, that is leading the likes of Thomas Frank to predict that he will challenge for future Ballon d'Ors. For you, do you agree with Pep Guardiola as regards Phil Foden's emergence and his style of play, comparing him to the great Messi?
Phil Foden's style of play is just amazing. He keeps getting better by the day. What he brings to the table, what he brings to the pitch of play on every game is totally different. And he just needs to, mature more, to be able to take the bull by the horn when it matters. So I think it's still early to compare him with the great Lionel Messi. I think he still has lots of work to do. I think he has lots of maturing and lots of maturing to do to be able to be on that same level with Lionel Messi. Yes, he's arguably the best player now in the Premier League. Arguably, we could argue that.
One of the best players or the best?
One of the best.
Okay.
One of the best players in the Premier League currently because of his style of play, giving goals and also assists that he's creating for both teammates, for his teammates and for himself as well. So I think he's doing so well, and he has more maturing. So Pep Guardiola should just take a chill pill for now.
All right.
When he gets there, we give him the accolades.
Yes. Okay, let's take you. We'll quickly take you to Germany, where the big story has to do with the man of the moment. Xabi Alonso is the man we're talking about. Let's let you know that Bayern Munich have opened talks with Xabi Alonso about the possibility of Bayern Leverkusen manager replacing Thomas Tuchel at the end of the season. According to reports, Alonso is expected to be in hot demand at the end of the season, with his Leverkusen side still unbeaten as they close in on the Bundesliga title, and both Liverpool and Bayern keen on the Spaniard. Bayern are already searching for their next head coach after it was announced that Tuchel would depart in the summer, and discussions are now ongoing with Alonso. As reported by Sky Germany, Alonso has been highlighted by Bayern as the club's preferred candidate to replace Tuchel, who has watched his side fall 10 points adrift of Alonso's Leverkusen in the league standings. Leverkusen looks set to end Munich's 12-year straight stranglehold on the German top-flight title and secure a first Bundesliga crown, having steered under Alonso's guidance. Alonso previously steered for Bayern as a player after the 42-year-old has given positive signals that he would be keen to joining the club in the summer. However, his exit is expected to cost Germany's most decorated club between 13 to 21 million pounds due to a fixed clause in his contract at Leverkusen. Alonso's existing deal at the league leaders currently runs until summer of 2026. The news comes as a huge blow to Liverpool, who are also keeping tabs on Alonso as a potential successor to legendary Reds manager Jurgen Klopp. Meanwhile, Liverpool made a shock announcement in January that Klopp would be leaving. All right, now we know this is what Bayern does every season. They go for best players of any club, best coaches. We saw them take Julian Nagelsmann, and now they're poaching on Xabi Alonso. Should Xabi Alonso move to Bayern? Do you think that would be a good move? We saw what happened to Julian Nagelsmann when he moved to Bayern. Somehow he couldn't, fit.
I think Xabi Alonso found his fitting with his current club, and then moving now, I think now he has that synergy, he has all the players, and then he understands, the club's, the team's pattern and style, and then he has been with these guys for a while now. So I think moving at this point, when you're at your peak, I think it might not be a good move, because, some coaches in the, that have moved from, one club to the other when they were at their peak, then they find it hard to, fit in when they were in a new club. So I think he should just stay there for one more season, and then maybe run it back again, because from the look of things, they are taking they're going to win the Bundesliga. So I think he should just run it over again, and then, yes, I did this, and then I'm ready for a change. Maybe approach, and welcome new challenge.
But the law of the money, the cash that's going to play with the best team in the Bundesliga.
That's where I would say, if he has this Igbo man mentality in him, my brother will go for the bag and then don't mind something else that will come.
But for someone like Harry Kane, we saw him in Tottenham, never won any trophy. So we thought once he went to Germany, he was going to win. And now is he the jinx in Bayern?
I think he's going to still find his fitting, because he's not having his best time. We know what Harry Kane can do.
No, but he has been scoring great goals, over 28 plus goals this season.
Hopefully, if they do better and then tend to come up the table for next season, yes.
All right, I think that's how much we're going to take on this first. Okay, my producer says take one more about the man called Cristiano Ronaldo. So we're going to take about Cristiano Ronaldo, then we'll go for a quick break. All right, Cristiano Ronaldo is in the news this morning again. He's never out of the news. Cristiano Ronaldo was once again taunted with Lionel Messi chant during Al Nassr's 1-0 defeat to Al Nassr on Monday night. Just last week, the Portugal's forward was reportedly summoned by the Saudi Pro League chiefs to explain the gesture he made towards supporters who were chanting Messi's name towards him. It seems the supporters will not rest when it comes to teasing the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, as they took aim at him once again during their AF Champions League quarterfinal clash. Do you think Ronaldo should have grown past this beef with Messi. Why should he get angry when, are the fans being fair enough, chanting Messi whenever trying to get under his skin?
One, the fans are not being fair. And secondly, I feel at this point, he should have like grown past all of this already, because he's Ronaldo. He has been receiving this everywhere he goes. He received it in England, went to Real Madrid, the same thing, Juventus, the same thing. Now he's in Saudi Arabia. So I don't expect Messi chance to get under his skin anymore. He should probably go to a therapy. They'll be yelling Messi, Messi until he grows, until he grows out of it. But the fans also, you know, the fans play a lot of vital role when it comes to a player performing on the pitch of play.
But when they chant Messi, do you think they're trying to say Messi is better than you, or they're trying to say inspire him by what do you think gets into Ronaldo's head?
I feel what gets into his head is like, okay, we are chanting Messi at this point while you're here, meaning Messi is the GOAT. Messi is greater. Messi is greater. So he now, he's expecting these people to like chant his name, but they're chanting someone else's name. In his head, it's like, what's going on right now? What's going on? So them chanting Messi instead of Ronaldo, obviously is getting into his head, and then it's making him feel like a second feeder.
All right, sad for all Ronaldo CR fans. I don't know what to say about that, but very sad commentary. All right, we'll be going for a very quick break. When we return from the break, we'll be having our ex-international Femi Ajilore, who will be joining us live in the studio to help us look at who becomes the Super Eagles head coach and his take on other issues concerning of national interest. And Victor Osimhen is on fire once again. Does he think Victor Osimhen should be moving to Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, or maybe Manchester United? Who knows? Whoever he deems fit. That will be after this break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Talk Sport on Global Television. We're still talking all the big stories making the rounds in the exciting world of sport. Just to give you a quick one from Formula One, Max Verstappen is in the news this morning. Max Verstappen, it can be revealed, has an astonishing break clause in his contract that allows him to walk out of Red Bull if his ally, Dr. Helmut Marko, leaves the team. The news comes as team boss Christian Horner, defiant after being cleared of charges of improper conduct towards a female colleague, tried to broker a fragile peace with his star driver's manager in the meeting in Dubai on Monday. Mail Sport understands that neither Verstappen nor his father, Jos, who wants Horner gone, was involved in the talks ahead of Saturday's second round of the season in Saudi Arabia. Verstappen is signed up to Red Bull until 2028, earning at least £50 million per annum. But the fact that his future is tied up with Marcos means the notion of a possible switch to Mercedes is not so fanciful after all. Marko, an 80-year-old Austrian is the company's motorsport advisor. Meanwhile, triple world champion Verstappen fought for him when the moves afoot to shuffle him out of the door last year. Maneuverings for which Horner was held responsible. It is understood that there is still wedge between the two sides dating back to the dispute. All right, that's the big story coming out from Formula One. And that man on your screen, Max Verstappen, is a man in the news. But there's one man who is also in the news, or has always been in the news, is our ex-international Femi Ajilore. Nice to have you in the studios.
Thanks for having me. It's always nice and good to be here.
All right, we know that there's a tournament which is aimed at catching them young already going on in the FCT, the Abuja Kids League. What's the update thus far?
It's been an exciting one, you know, after the screening exercise for the kids, you know, for the Kids Soccer League, for the young champs. So last week, the league kicked off, and it was a very good one. 8 teams played in the opening game, and it's been good all the way. And I can tell you, we've experienced a better start of the league this season.
Okay, let's look at in terms of the age group of the kids now. We're looking at so that parents can better appreciate the age group of kids involved, and also like where it's taking place, so that for even parents who want their kids to still be part of it can, you know, move on to those venues.
Yeah, like you already know, the Kids Soccer League is aimed at creating a platform, you know, for these young lads, especially from their tender age. And I think this is where the grassroots football, you know, begins. And from what we have been doing, we've seen so many of them developing from age 5, you know, and I can tell you today, over the last 3-4 years, we have been on this, and we have seen some of them growing from 6 to 10, and some are already even in Europe as I talk to you now.
Wow.
You know, they've gone for some few trials, and some were lucky being picked after some tournament, you know, across.
Like which of those teams?
Eagles Wing, they were in France last year, and 2-3 of their players did very well. They won the French whatever Kids Cup in France. If you check on internet, you can see this. And some members of Team FAFC, of course my team, were also in England for the Britannia Cup. So, and we are happy to see this. And like I said, the KSL is just a platform to encourage kiddies' active participation in football, and of course to groom them at the right age in order to discourage age discrepancy.
Okay. I remember the last tournament I attended, that was like 2 years ago, where there was this back and forth home and away basis. You said you wanted to give them that mode of the Champions League, how to play away matches, learn how to win away matches. How has it been thus far?
It's been great. It's been very great, and I can tell you the parents were all happy, because through the league, most of the parents, you know, have gotten some connection with other parents from other venues. And like I told you, the idea of helping these kids to play, you know, far from home is to expose them to different venues. Just like what they have been seeing on TV, and I'm happy that they are really enjoying it. You know, it doesn't have to be an home game at every point in time for them, and it doesn't have to be just training alone. And this tournament, the Kids Soccer League, is there for them to have the real experience of real football. When they play home this weekend, the following weekend they go to another venue, you know, as an away match, and I can tell you it's been good.
But I know there were some notable names the last tournament. I know your son was one of them that was outstanding in the tournament. We also had Samson Siasa's son, who, like his father, was scoring a lot of goals. Have we seen any new chaps on the block this tournament?
Yes, you know, for every tournament is an avenue, you know, to also discover some other new champs. Okay. So there are many of them now, I can tell. You know, from the last edition, we were able to provide a gift for those that are outstanding. Okay. And of course, they are all looking forward to this season again. And I can tell you, they are all putting their very best because they know what is at stake. Because a lot of the national team coaches, the underage national team coaches will be there, in as much as the FCTFA are also involved in this edition. So this edition is going to be unique because there is a lot that is involved. And most of these kids knows what happened, you know, in the previous edition, and I can tell you they are working really hard. They are looking forward, you know, to see themselves winning the league. So it's going to be a promising one. And already it's already an exciting one because in the first game, a lot of the parents were there to cheer their kids to victory.
All right. Let's talk about a little bit on the national issue. We have just barely 25 minutes to talk sport now. Let's look at the Super Eagles setup. Now Peseiro is gone. Are you one of those who wanted Peseiro to stay by, or are you happy he's gone? And my colleague talked about Daniel Mokachi, Emmanuel Amunike, and others making up the setup for the Super Eagles coaching crew. From your own perspective, what kind of coach would the Super Eagles be needing?
For me, I will start by commending Peseiro, even though we might not like his style of play. You know, personally, I don't like his style of play, but we must commend him. You know, getting to the final of the AFCON is not an easy task. So, on that note, of course, I give it to him. But irrespective, since we are trying to move forward and have a better Super Eagles, I think it's important that we find a man who understand the culture of Nigeria and who understand the way Nigerians feel when it comes to football. Nigeria is known for attacking, you know, football, and all of a sudden we see ourselves defending. Sometimes through 90 minutes when we have a goal, then we keep defending. So this is not what Nigerians want to see. This is not what I want to see. I remember in my playing days, we were always meant to understand that we need to play progressive football and possession.
Who was your
football.
coach then?
Of course, I have been privileged to play under Siasia.
That was when you went for the Olympics?
Yeah, during the Olympics, of course, it was Samson Siasia, but at Super Eagles, I've been privileged to play under the late Amadou Shuaibu, and of course, the living legend, Dan Dibu as well.
Okay, so looking at your experience playing for the Super Eagles and also for the Dream Team in the Olympics, which of these players do you think the formation of Emmanuel Amunike, Dan Dibu, and Finidi George, or who do you think will better suit for the Super Eagles? Will it be better to have Dan Dibu because he's attack-minded, because of his charisma, his toughness? Would he do better as a Super Eagles coach?
For me, I think three of them are good, you know, but you have to understand who fits the job, you know, especially at this time, at this point in time. For Dan Dibu, Finidi, and they have both played at the national level. They have done their part. They understand football, and they have the knowledge of how Nigeria wants our Eagles to play. So it's not a challenge for me, whoever that is being picked among the three. But I will say, if you're looking at Dan Dibu, for me, it might be difficult because he has been out of the coaching duty for some time, you know, now. And when you look at Finidi and Amunike. They have done so well. You know, recently you saw what happened with Eyimba under the care of Finidi George, and he was part of the AFCON team. So this is to tell you that he's presently involved, you know, in what is happening in our football, and with his wealth of knowledge, and for the fact that he has also played at this level, and he has gained a whole lot of experience as a manager. I think he has a lot to bring into our national team. And I just think it's important that we give our indigenous coaches, you know, that chance and support and see what they will come up with. We have seen that with Siasia. He has done so well. We have seen that even with Eguavon, late Keshi, they have not done bad, you know, but it's important that we give them that chance, give them the enabling environment, and support them. And I can tell you in a few years to come, they are going to do us proud.
All right, as we go to get set for the World Cup, what do you think should be the immediate plans of the NFF? If you're asked to make a choice, who do you think can lead us to the World Cup? Because the World Cup is a very sensitive match issue now. Do we say we're going to count on any of these ex-internationals, or let's just go for a foreign coach, or looking at the World Cup proper now?
Personally, I think I will want us to believe in our indigenous coaches, especially Finidi and Amunike. Okay. You know, if they combine these two, they are both teammates in their playing times, and I believe they have that cordial relationship. So coming together for a common goal will also help them do better. You know, we've tried a lot of foreign coaches, you know, and at some point I don't think they have done so well, some of them. When you look at the likes of Lagerbäck, this was in my time. He didn't do well, you know. And when you look at Gernot Rohr, we were unable to qualify for the World Cup. Pizarro has done well, but his style of play, you know, is against the way Nigerians want to see our Eagles play. So I think is the right time to give our indigenous coaches that chance, you know, to operate. And if there is anything they are lacking, you know, there are many ways they can support them to gain even more knowledge. You know, if it is to send them abroad to go for special trainings and all that, that is how to groom our own indigenous coaches. So if we can do this, I think we will see our Eagles going far and our football growing again.
Okay, let's talk about the league a little bit before we go back to the Abuja Kids League. How would you assess the Nigerian Premier League thus far in terms of officiating, the results we've been getting home and away? Do you think we have enough players, and especially for the Super Eagles, do you think it's time to also invite fresh players into the team? We've seen the very best of what they could do at AFCON. What areas do you think needs to reinforcement?
I will start again, you know, by saying Rome was not built in a day. You know, our league has been, you know, up and down, you know, and recently we've seen a lot of tremendous changes, you know, under the leadership of the new Gusso and the chairman of the MPFL. You know, that's the talking of Honorable Benga Elegbele. So there has been a lot of good changes in our football. If you see the issue of referee supporting the home side has reduced because of the plans they have in place, so that they don't have any reasons of holding the referees, which will make them to compromise in their duty, you know. So there has been that. And if you check the teams we have now, teams are beginning to win away games, unlike before where...
So they're having more self-belief?
Yes, there is a lot of self-belief, you know, but of course there is still a whole lot to do to get it better than as it is at the moment. So, and they are all working hard, and like I told you, we've got many good teams now in our Premier League. When you look at Remo Star, look at their facilities, look at the players they are parading, younger players, 2-3 of them are now in Europe. One is already playing in Inter Milan. This is what we want to see. Yes. Wow. A player from Remo Star, he did so well in the previous...
wow, that's...
You don't know. So there are many players from our league that are moving because our league is getting the right attention now. There are a lot of people trying to, you know, see our league, trying to invest and trying to come and check and see the players that we have. And if the officiating is good, if our venues are good, if people are allowed to go and watch game without being afraid of, the insecurity challenges, we will see a lot of tremendous changes in our league. And of course, when we want to bring it to national team now, when they are doing well, it's easier for them to be invited to the national team. Recently, we've not done well in that area. When you look at the AFCON, we don't even have I
think it was only,
it was only Ojo from Ojo is from Eyimba, right?
Yes.
So, and this is not good. If you look at the history of Nigerian football, when it comes to Nations Cup or World Cup, there are at least 4 or 5 from our homegrown players, and they have done so well, contributing to the success of our darling Eagles. So I think it's important to look back to that, because if we look back, some of the challenges we had during the AFCON, these players would have resolved those issues, because the local player have the strength and the energy to withstand African football compared to European players. Playing under a very difficult weather condition and all that. So these are things that we can take from our home player. And after giving them this opportunity, they will also stand a bigger chance of moving to a bigger club in Europe. We have seen that with the likes of Musa, the likes of Fego, and so many of them. So I think it's important that we give some of these players that opportunity, and that platform to be recognized at the national team as well.
All right, I know you're doing things with the Abuja Kids League, and that's getting these players from the grassroots at tender age. For Nigerian coaches in the Premier League, do you think they've done enough? Have they come of age? Just like we've agreed that the match officials are getting better now, we're having away wins on the steady. How would you rate Nigerian coaches, especially now that we're even in search of Super Eagles coaches? Do you think the NFF might be bold enough to pick a coach from the club sides?
Why not? And one thing I can tell you that the NFF are doing well now is trying to create a platform where coaches can also grow, develop. So, and for me, it's a welcome development. As we talk now, I can tell you there is this coaching course going on, the CAFD, so that is the right way. When they start gaining the right knowledge on what to do as a coach, definitely they will stand to improve our players as well. And if they start improving our players, if they are doing well, then the sky is the limit. This is what happened in Europe. If you check most of those European coaches, they go through one program or the other in order to develop themselves, sportingly, mentally, academically, and otherwise. And that has helped them to pick players and to see what the player needs, and thereby helping the player to improve. And this is what I expect from our coaches as well. Sometimes I think some of our coaches are not doing well because there are things we can do on our own.
In terms of personal improvement.
Exactly, personal improvement and personal development. You can do a research. I do that. I do a lot of programs online, offline, and I do my own personal research. And if I improve myself, then I stand the chance of improving these younger lads coming up. So I expect this from them. But I believe with what the NFF are trying to put on now, this will also guide these coaches to be better.
All right, let's return back to where we started from talking about the Abuja Kiddies League now. In terms of support, how has it been, and also where do we go from here?
Yeah, that's always the greatest challenge we have.
Nigeria is a sports-loving country, a football-loving country. We see lots of companies come out when the Super Eagles win, and the support. Why can't we get these people support the Abuja?
It's the same question I asked, and I've been moving here and there to meet people. Some are really interested to see grassroots football develop, but sometimes maybe they don't know how to come in. And Nigerian way, when you're doing well, everybody comes around to want to
be part of
partner,
the success,
But like we always know, Rome was not built in a day. Everything that you see big started from from the scratch. It's like school. If you don't start from primary, you can't get to the university, because from the primary, you learn the basics. So it's the same in football. So this is what we have given. And of course, we are calling on sport-loving Nigerians for support to see these kids grow, because these are our future champions. They will be our future Eagles, stars, and, you know, and if we don't create that platform for them, from their tender age, it might be difficult. And that is why we've had the issues of age discrepancy, because a lot of our kids, you know, they don't start at the early stage. And this is what I have personally observed, and that has given birth to what we are doing. You know, so we are hoping that people will come to support what we're doing in order to help football and grassroots football development.
All right, I think that's how much we're going to take on today's discourse. I want to say a big thank you to ex-international Femi Ajilore, who has done Nigeria proud in the Olympics. In case you didn't know, he also played for the Super Eagles. I wonder where you were when he was playing there. He always reminded me of Seyi Olafunjano when he was on the pitch of play. Yes, I never asked you, who was your role model while playing? Who did you always want to play like? Because I always remember Seyi Olafunjano would pull his socks down, and he also reminded me of Issa Shofoluwe in his playing days.
Okay. Growing up, you know, I've always
does he play a role in helping a footballer become better when you have someone you want to play
yes, like? Yes. You know, I'll give you my personal story. You know, growing up, when I watch Premier League, I see the likes of Dennis Wise, Patrick Vieira, you know, many good players like that. And when I check the way, my style of play, I remember my coaches will always refer to me as Vieira. So, and that, you know, got my attention, and I start watching him. And when I start watching him, I discover there are things that he's doing better that makes people recognize him. So I try to take some of those things, you know, into my own game, and that helped me a lot. So when I got to Europe, it was a bit easier for me, because I've been learning, I've been watching, I've been trying to take few things from those players, and getting there, it was much easier. And of course, Seyi, I was privileged to play alongside with him at the Super Eagles. We played together. Of course, he's my senior, but we are good friends. So he's another player, you know, growing up to see. He is a very strong, versatile player. So when you, if you know,
he was playing almost everywhere in the Super Eagles.
So those few things help player. If you check a lot of these kids, they already have a role model. When you ask some of them, I want to be Mbappe, I want to be Messi, I want to be Ronaldo. So the players they are looking forward to be determines what they want to learn as well. So if they take it positively, they can imbibe what he is doing also into their game, thereby helping them to improve.
Better. Yeah. All right, well said. You heard from the horse's mouth there, telling you as it is, I wish I ever played for Nigeria. Jeez, that's how great is that honor playing for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? How did you feel the first day you wore the green, white, green jersey?
It was a dream come true for me, you know. Just like every other kid, growing up, you always dream. You want to play for your nation, you want to do your parent proud, you want to do your family and your community proud. So actualizing that dream, you know, was a huge one for me. And of course, it feels good, and I always have that great feeling anytime I've been called upon to do something, you know, especially relating to football.
All right, so I'm hoping my cameraman, Nicholas, someday will play for the Super Eagles. He's laughing his heart out. All right, that's how we're going to call it a wrap on this. We'll go for a quick break. Then when we come back, we'll be wrapping up Top Sports. And I want to say a big thank you to Femi Ajilore. Always a pleasure having him in the studio. It makes me feel like I'm also one of an ex-international. I'll take that to the bank. All right, see you after this quick break. All right, this is a moment where we have to say We draw the curtains. The final whistle has been, the referee has put extra 5 minutes, and we've played the 5 minutes. We've talked the 5 minutes plus, and it's time where we say goodbye and exchange our jerseys with our opponents. Yes, now, you know, I always told you, you reminded me of someone I was trying to remember. Maybe it's Mbappe, who knows?
Well, I play a little bit of football, but I'm more of a basketball player.
Oh, my God.
I'm more of a basketball player. So, you know, Mbappe is a great player. I wish I played football. Maybe, you know, representing Nigeria, wearing that green.
What would be your high point of what the ex-international said?
You know, the fact that the kids have role models already, you know, is a striking point, because since they're having role models already, that means there will be, you know, playing to be like that role model. So when they are up there on that big stage, we'll definitely see that, okay, these kids have actually been doing their homework, and then they'll just, you know, make us proud, and then they'll hopefully wear the green, white, green jersey and then make the nation proud and their parents proud as well.
All right, so that's how we're going to call it a wrap. We want to say thank you for joining both of us on Talk Sport this morning. It's amazing. We're so happy to know you were part of us. I want to say a big thank you again to our ex-international Femi Ajilore for finding out time to be part of Talk Sport. My name is Anthony Momodi, King of Sports, saying good morning and enjoy the rest of your day.